She's gone, baby. Now it's just us.
She screamed his name, but the wind swallowed her voice. "Allison, please," Malcolm shouted, yet his hand never reached for her. One push and everything went silent. The cliff, the waves, her heartbeat, all disappeared beneath the roar of betrayal. Vanessa stood behind him, smiling. "She's gone, baby," she whispered. "Now it's just us." But fate doesn't forget. 6 years later, a woman walked into a campaign gala wearing a white suit and calm smile. Her eyes met Malcolm's, and for the first time since that night, he froze. Because those were the same eyes that haunted his dreams. The same eyes of the woman he killed. But how could she still be alive? He didn't know her name anymore. She was no longer Allison. She was Dr. Ariana Taylor Cole. And she had returned not to forgive, but to reclaim everything stolen from her. And that's where her story truly began. Before we dive deeper, please, if you're listening to this right now, I want to prove my mom wrong. She said I can't even reach 1,000 subscribers. Help me show her that stories like this matter. Subscribe to King's Folklore, and let's keep breathing life into tales that refuse to die. Now let's continue. The night wind was colder than usual. Somewhere beyond the cliffs, the ocean roared like it was warning her. "Allison, please stop." Malcolm's voice trembled, but his hands were steady. He stood only a few feet away, moonlight catching the sweat on his forehead. She turned, clutching her belly. "You think I don't know, Malcolm? You and her?" Behind him, Vanessa stepped closer, silk dress brushing against the rocks, her red lipstick glowing in the dark. "Allison," she said softly, "you're overreacting." He didn't mean... "Shut up," Allison snapped, tears streaming down her face. "You slept with my husband while I'm carrying his child." The argument was no longer about love. It was about greed, about power, about the empire Allison had built before Malcolm ever entered her life. Malcolm's jaw clenched. "You'll ruin everything," he muttered. "You're unstable. You need help." She laughed bitterly. "Help? The only thing I need is for you to tell the truth." The sound of the waves crashed louder. One step too close. One argument too far. And then silence. A scream. A slip. A push. Allison's world turned upside down. The last thing she saw was the moonlight fading into the sea. Her body hit the water, and darkness swallowed her whole. Vanessa gasped. "Oh my God, Malcolm, what have you done?" He stared down the cliff, heart pounding, hands shaking. She slipped. But Vanessa didn't flinch. She turned, her face cold. "Then she's gone. And so is your problem." She took his hand, whispering, "Now, we start fresh. Together." Down below, miles from the shore, an old fisherman named Elias found a body washed up against his nets, barely breathing. He called for help, and an older woman, Loretta, a retired nurse, rushed from her cottage. "Don't die on me now," Loretta whispered, pressing her hands against Allison's chest. A weak heartbeat, a flicker of life, a miracle. When Allison finally opened her eyes, everything was gone. Her memories, her name, her voice. She didn't even remember she was pregnant. For weeks, she lay in Loretta's small cabin, fighting fever and confusion. Loretta never left her side. "You're safe here, sweetheart," she'd whisper, wiping her forehead. "You're my miracle girl." Months passed. One morning, cries echoed through the room, a baby's cry. Allison had given birth to a boy. But when she held him, tears ran down her face. "Who are you?" she whispered. "Who am I?" Her memory was still gone. Loretta's heart broke. She knew the young woman wasn't ready. So with trembling hands, she made the hardest decision of her life to place the baby for adoption, in hopes that one day, fate would make things right. The baby was named Caleb. As the years rolled on, Allison, now called Anna, stayed with Loretta, working in her small diner. Every day, she'd stare at the ocean, not knowing why it scared her. Some nights, she'd wake screaming, drenched in sweat, seeing flashes of a cliff, a fall, a man's face. Loretta would rush to her side. "It's okay, Anna. It's just a dream." But deep down, Loretta knew some dreams are not dreams at all. their memories waiting for the right moment to return. And that moment was coming. Because on a quiet Sunday morning, Anna turned on the diner TV. A news anchor smiled, saying, Senator Malcolm Taylor officially announces his run for governor alongside his wife, philanthropist Vanessa Taylor. Anna's hand froze midair. Her eyes widened. Her breath caught. The coffee cup shattered on the floor. Because on that screen was the man from her nightmares, the face of the man who pushed her off a cliff. And standing beside him, the woman who whispered, "She's gone." Her memory hit her like lightning. Her name, her pain, her child, everything came flooding back. Her scream echoed through the diner. "Allison Taylor," she whispered to herself, trembling. "My name is Allison Taylor." And with that, she rose not as a victim, but as a storm reborn. Because this time, she wasn't going to beg for mercy. This time she was coming back for everything. 6 years had changed her face, but not her fire. Gone was the trembling wife who begged for love. In her place stood Dr. Ariana Taylor Cole, confident, composed, and dangerously calm. Under that new name, Allison had built herself again. She'd studied psychology, consulting for trauma recovery programs. She learned people their fears, their patterns, their pressure points. And now, she knew exactly how to break the man who once broke her. The plan began with silence. She didn't storm into Malcolm's office screaming about revenge. No. She sent a polite email. "Dear Senator Taylor, my name is Dr. Ariana Cole. I specialize in voter psychology and public image management. I believe I can help your campaign reach hearts, not just headlines." Within a week, she was standing in front of him again, face to face. Malcolm's handshake froze halfway. Something about her voice, the tilt of her head, felt familiar. But Vanessa, ever eager to please the press, smiled. "Dr. Cole, we've heard great things. Welcome aboard." And just like that, Allison was back inside the very life they stole from her. Every day she watched them pretend smiling for cameras, holding hands, playing perfect couple. But she noticed the cracks. The way Malcolm's eyes twitched when Vanessa mentioned the cliffside retreat. The way Vanessa flinched whenever the wind howled too loud. Allison planted seeds quiet, invisible seeds of chaos. One evening, she leaned close during a campaign briefing. "Senator, people respond best to honesty," she whispered. "Maybe it's time to open up about your past, show vulnerability, tell them about your first wife." Malcolm stiffened. "My first wife?" "Yes," she said softly, smiling like it was innocent. The world loves a redemption story. That night, Malcolm couldn't sleep. He poured whiskey into his glass, staring at the cliff photo in his study, the same photo from the night Allison fell. He could swear he heard her voice in the waves. "What would you do if the person who tried to kill you was now running for governor?" Meanwhile, Allison worked behind the scenes with Marcus Reed, a sharp investigative journalist who owed Loretta a favor. Marcus had always admired her strength. "You sure about this?" he asked one night over coffee. "Once this starts, there's no going back." Allison smiled. "Marcus, they took my life. I'm just taking it back." Together, they dug through the past fake hospital records, hidden bank accounts, offshore transactions, and they found something bigger than betrayal. Malcolm's campaign was funded through illegal deals tied to Vanessa's brother, Derek, a corporate broker known for laundering money under charity names. The same Derek who was there that night. Marcus said quietly, "You're sitting on a bomb, Ariana." "That's the point," she replied. Weeks turned into tension. The couple began to unravel. Malcolm accused Vanessa of leaking information. Vanessa accused Malcolm of cheating again, ironically, with that new consultant. The fights grew public. The smiles faded. And in the middle of it all, Allison just watched, calm, composed, deadly. One evening she called Loretta. Her voice trembled for the first time in years. "He's breaking, Loretta. They both are." Loretta sighed. "Be careful, baby. Revenge burns both ends of the candle." "I know," Allison said. "But sometimes you need fire to see the truth." Still, she couldn't help but think of her son. Where was Caleb now? Was he happy? Safe? Every night, She whispered a prayer. God, let me find him before this ends. The next morning, Marcus showed her a photo, a boy in a school fundraiser article. Name, Caleb White. Age, 6. Adopted son of the White family. Her knees gave out. It was him. The same eyes, the same small smile she saw in the mirror every morning. Tears streamed down her face. He's alive, Marcus. My baby's alive. And that's when she knew this wasn't just revenge anymore. This was destiny. She would expose Malcolm and Vanessa. She would reclaim her name. And she would bring Caleb home. But the walls were closing in. Malcolm's assistant caught a glimpse of her fake credentials. Vanessa overheard a conversation between Allison and Marcus. And suddenly, everything shifted. The hunter had become the hunted. Late that night, Malcolm looked out his office window and muttered, "She's not who she says she is." Vanessa narrowed her eyes. Then we finish what we started. The storm was coming, and this time, it wouldn't end with a fall. It would end with the truth. The night of reckoning came quietly. No lightning, no thunder. Just the same kind of wind that blew 6 years ago. The same moonlight that once watched her fall. Allison stood at the edge of the same cliff, her heart calm, her purpose clear. This was where it ended, not just for Malcolm and Vanessa, but for the ghosts that had lived in her mind since that night. Marcus waited nearby with a hidden camera crew and a police team on standby. "This is risky," he whispered. Allison smiled faintly. So was trusting him. Malcolm had agreed to meet her after she'd sent a message. "I know what you did, Malcolm. Meet me where it all began, or tomorrow the world will." When his car headlights cut through the darkness, her breath hitched. He stepped out, older now, eyes sunken, hands trembling. Vanessa followed, heels crunching against the gravel. And behind them, Derek's silhouette appeared cold, calculating. Malcolm's voice cracked. "Who are you, really?" Allison took a step forward, letting the moonlight reveal her face. "Don't you recognize me, Malcolm?" she asked softly. "You should. You buried me here." Vanessa gasped, stumbling backward. No, it can't be." Malcolm's knees went weak. "Allison? But you died." Her eyes burned. "You thought I did, but God wasn't finished with me." For a moment, no one spoke. The ocean roared behind them like a witness. Then Derek sneered. "This is insane. You've got no proof of anything." Allison's lips curved. "You're right. That's why I invited you all here. To make sure the proof records itself." From the darkness, Marcus's hidden drone light blinked once camera live, broadcasting everything to a secure server and, within seconds, to a live stream through the journalist network. Allison took a deep breath. "Let's talk about the night you tried to kill me." Malcolm's face twisted. "We didn't." "Don't lie again," she cut in sharply. "I remember every word, the cliff, the push, her saying, 'She's gone.'" Vanessa snapped. "You ruined our lives. We had no choice." "No choice?" Allison's voice cracked with emotion. "You chose greed over love, lies over loyalty. You killed a mother and left her son without a name." Malcolm shouted, "Enough!" and lunged forward, but Derek held him back. Vanessa turned, eyes blazing. "You said she was dead, Malcolm? You promised." The argument spiraled, voices colliding, secrets spilling, and all of it caught live. Malcolm's rage broke through his mask. "Fine. Yes, I pushed her. I had to. She was going to take everything from me." Silence. Only the waves responded, crashing like applause from the heavens. Marcus's voice came through the earpiece. "We got it. Every word. The police are on their way." Vanessa's face crumpled. Derek ran. Malcolm dropped to his knees. And Allison, she just stood there, tears falling, whispering a prayer she never thought she'd say again. When the sirens pierced the night, she didn't move. As officers led them away, Malcolm turned one last time. "Allison, please. I loved you once." She looked at him sadly. "Then you should have protected me, not buried me." Days later, the news exploded across every network. Governor candidate exposed in murder conspiracy, wife and brother-in-law arrested. Malcolm and Vanessa received life sentences. Derek, 30 years. And Allison Taylor was finally free. But she didn't celebrate. Instead, she stood at the courthouse steps, holding a small hand, Caleb's hand. Loretta had helped her reconnect with the Whites, and together, they agreed to co-parent with love. As cameras flashed, Allison knelt to her son's level. He looked up, innocent eyes full of questions. "Mommy? Are you happy now?" She smiled through her tears. "I am now, baby. Because the truth always wins even when it takes time." That weekend, she returned to the cliff one last time. She placed a white rose by the edge, whispering, "I forgive you, Malcolm. Not for you. For me." Then she turned to leave, the wind soft, the waves calm, her heart finally at peace. Because revenge had given her closure. But forgiveness gave her freedom. Moral of the story: life has a way of circling back to the truth. Allison's story reminds us that even after betrayal, loss, or injustice, redemption is still possible. Pain might shape us, but it doesn't have to define us. Forgive, but never forget your worth. And when life pushes you off a cliff, remember, some falls are just wings in disguise. If this story touched you, hit that subscribe button for more emotional tales from King's Folklore. And even if it didn't, come on, subscribe anyway, we'll win you over next time. Drop a comment, like the video, and let's keep the stories alive. Thanks for watching.